Alright, before we get into the game, I should probably... I try not to talk politics, but I will just point out that this shirt means that I like Hawaiian shirts and nothing else. There's a certain other group who I refuse to name who also like Hawaiian shirts and like a whole lot of other things that I find morally objectionable, to put mildly. I am not one of them. And let's just leave it at that, okay? It falls into the same line that certain groups of people wear fedoras. I like fedoras and have done since before they got into it. I wear beards. Certain other people wear beards. It's a guilt by association thing, which really annoys me because every time something that I like goes from being way out of fashion to being in fashion, the people that bring it in fashion are assholes. I wish that would stop. Probably it'll stop about the time I'm put in my coffin. Won't that be fun? Anyway, before I went on this trip, I drove down to the coast to see a certain comet. It was just barely visible to the naked eye, but I brought my binoculars, and for most people it wouldn't be an impressive sight. Just a smudge of brightness and a tiny little fleck of light. But I was really into it because I love space stuff. And I was 11 years old when Halley's Comet came by in 85 or 86. We were all hoping for a great show because it comes around every 76 years. And it kind of fizzled. I never saw it. 2 weeks ago was the first time I ever saw a comet. Outside of a photo, that is. And it was worth the hour and a half each way that I drove to get someplace where the horizon was low enough to guarantee I'd have a good long look at it. This universe really is full of wonders. And I'm glad to see that Kerbal Space Program 110 is bringing in comets and other things of that nature. Although I really hope they don't cause me to do a redirect of a comet in the near future, you know? Anyway, what I had planned for Saturday night was to fly a couple of rockets designed by one of my favorite game streamers, the guy who taught me a couple of things to really get me into Kerbal Space Program, and recently he came back to Kerbal Space Program after a long hiatus, and this past week he wrapped up 13 anger-filled streams focusing on his love-hate relationship with this game. He goes by the handle RoninPawn. He's on both Twitch and YouTube. You can find edited down versions of his older videos on YouTube. He's a lot better at improv comedy than I'll ever be, and he specializes in playing KSP well badly. And just before I left on this trip, I went ahead and, where is it? Ronin Pawn Test. Here we go. I reassembled, based on the videos, 2 of the rockets he flew that he had problems with, and tonight we're going to fly them here, see what went wrong, try to make them successful, and if that fails, we'll make the tweaks necessary to make them successful. So let's bring up the first one. Public Moon Mission, which was named because the previous one was Secret Moon Mission. It is a perfect replica of what he did. Yes, right down to the total absence of nose cones on the hammer boosters. But it's 29 parts out of allow 30. Got the science compartment here, and got the Science Junior right here next to the ablator plate, the heat shield. He had some drogues and a main parachute, yada yada yada. If you've been watching this before, you'll notice that, well, this thing blows up. It blows up a lot when you try to re-enter it. And of course, he's put the lightest weight portion right in front of the heat shield. So not only is this thing likely to blow up on re-entry, but the whole ship is going to flip over and push the nose directly down on re-entry. But he did it anyway. And I'm going to see if I can fly this successfully where he failed. Okay, mission. Science from Kerbal orbit. Orbit the moon and return to Kerbal safely. Going up is not so much a problem, except, of course, for the lack of streamlining on the hammers. RoninPawn is very fond of going up slowly and wasting Delta V that way. And also, he doesn't like the center stack when he's using SRBs. His first stages are almost always SRBs only, which makes them damn near unsteerable. And of course, whenever he can get away with it, or thinks he can get away with it, he prefers trilateral symmetry, which is a hell of a lot less stable than quad symmetry. But then, playing it the way he does it, it's fun to watch. He goes to pieces and it's fun. And so, we're going to fly this one in just a moment. Good, reliable Jebediah. Stick a death trap in front of him. He's right in that seat, ready to go. This SOB is going to pretty much take off the pad. Starting TWR of 2.57. So, yeah. Gonna be entertaining. Alright. And we're flying. In 3, 2, 1, fire. And I'm already putting it a little bit down the ball, as much as I dare. As much as I can. Alright, already coming up. There we go. And just like that, the SRBs are gone. Apoapsis is at 15 kilometers and rising. Jebediah is looking cool and collected. Even so, this rocket is a little bit wobbly. Oh, did I mention there are no solar panels on this? So once this stage burns out and we are on the Terrier engine, the 50 units of power are all we're ever going to have again. So we're going to have to conserve. Oh, and one other thing I probably should mention, at this point in the game, Pawn had not unlocked maneuver nodes. Which means, in the spirit of things, we're going to be flying this thing to the moon by eyeballing it. You'll notice that Pawn even built in an antenna. Not that it does anything. Trying to transmit even one experiment would run through our electricity practically instantly. Alright, time to throttle up again. Burn out this stage and get over to the Terrier. Positive periapsis. Whoops. And I missed my cutoff point. 80 by 104. Not terribly good. Not good at all. Here's the moon here, and there's Kerbal. We're going to come around again, and when the moon is just rising over the edge of Kerbal's rim here, that's when we burn to get an intercept. This is one of the things that the makers of Kerbal Space Program apparently made really easy, and I'm guessing it was on purpose. Not 100% sure of that, though. Okay, now I'm making sure I know where the quick save is, because we're going to use that on the way back down. I guarantee that. Come on, Moon. This is not the time to be shy, Moon. Curtain call in 10 seconds, Moon. The director's going to be very annoyed with you. You know that. There it is, there it is, there it is! On to prograde. And fire. There we go. That's all we need. 354 meters per second. We've got to turn this into a very high orbit around the moon and then break out of orbit and drop back down to Kerbin. On, let me repeat, 354 meters per second. Okay. And somehow or other, we lost our intercept. That's unfortunate. Are we going to get it back without me? Yes, yes, yes. There it is. There it is. This game. This game, I tell you. All right. No, no, no. He didn't have maneuver. He did not have maneuver notes. Don't do that. Instead, we'll just warp up here to the periapsis. Get on retrograde and burn. Burning much. Any orbit, come on. Okay, we have an orbit. And 167 meters per second left to break out of it and get back down into Kerbin's atmosphere. Now, if memory serves, RoninPawn did actually go through the trouble of going a full orbit around before he tried to escape. We're not going to do that. We've got the orbit. It's on the records. We're in the gravitational control of Moon. That's all we care about. We got the signatures on the contract. They can't take the money back now. So, back on prograde. Okay, 38 kilometers is what I'm shooting for. And we only have 12 meters per second left in the ship. So yeah, this was dead on, the absolute minimum that Pawn could have put into the ship to make it do what he wanted to do. Public, Moon, re-entry, backstop. There we go. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to fly it in more or less like RoninPawn did, which is retract the antenna, close the service bay, and ditch the engine. We'll go ahead and close the Science Junior too. Not that I expect that to do the least bit of good. Now, unlike RoninPawn, we have 42 meters per second of delta V, and we have a substantially higher periapsis. We'll be in the heat longer, but we won't be going in so deep. At least not at first, which means aerodynamic forces will not be that extreme. I hope. I've got it locked on retrograde, which Pawn could have done with the pilot he had at the time. Valentino could do a locked retrograde. but he had no power left in the system. And now I need to set the Brussels sprouts aside so I can have my hands on the controls, because this might get a bit squirrely. In fact, I'd be damn surprised if it didn't. Switch to surface mode so that we are working with aerodynamics. Jebediah thinks he's going to have fun. So far it's holding without me having to intervene. If this thing decides to flip, I don't know how I'd be able to stop it anyway, but my hands are on the controls, ready to do whatever I can. 10 seconds to periapsis. Ship is still holding steady on attitude and barely using any electric charge to do it. That's a little bit surprising. And we haven't had any heat ticks pop up yet. The ablator is doing its job. Okay, we are now rising, but our apoapsis is below 650 kilometers. We are probably not getting out of atmosphere again. Instead, we are just going to come in nice and steady, stay in atmosphere a good long time, and slow down. At least that's the theory. Apoapsis 250 and falling. Oh yes, we are not going back up any great distance. We're technically ascending, but we're ascending at less than 100 meters a second. Still no heat warnings. That's really amazing. Did I actually get this right? Apoapsis under 70. We are suborbital. Periapsis 20 kilometers and falling pretty damn rapidly. And we're slowing down. Well, it only takes 1200 Kelvin to cook off the Science Junior here. Everything else, practically everything else in the whole game is either 2000 Kelvin or 2400 Kelvin. This is flammable as all shit. This is a papier-mâché science project. 10 seconds to apoapsis. We're basically level flying at the moment. Apoapsis, we are now descending again, there we go. We are below 2 kilometers a second, and the drawback here is that now that we're descending, we're going to start descending pretty steeply. Which means we will be getting back into the deep air before very much longer, and when we do get to thick air, we are likely to flip. If we do flip, odds are it's game over for Jebediah here. Which of course means going back to the quick save. You realize that science does not know whether or not Kerbals have fingers? Nobody has ever seen a bare Kerbal finger in the wild. Mysteries of the universe. And Jebediah is still calm, cool, and collected, because our surface speed is now below any real possibility of burning up any of these parts. That's good news. 21 kilometers and descending at a bit over 1 kilometer per second lateral velocity. Now a bit under. This is looking good. This is looking very good. We've got a green light for the drogues. And now we've got a green light for the main chutes. Jebediah alive, Science Junior intact. And look at how high this rides. This is what I was talking about. The capsule is a lot heavier than the Science Junior. Aerodynamically, bad idea. But we made it work. Alright. I may not have been as funny or entertaining as RoninPawn, but I got his ship down without it blowing up. That was a lot quicker than I expected. I expected that I'd have to go through 2 or 3 iterations of that to find something that worked. So we're just going to have to press on to the other one that I built. Flight 21, first Kerbal on the Moon, Mark 1. Now let's just have a quick look at how... He said I'm going Star Trek with this one when he built this. And yeah, it kind of shows. Don't worry too much. There are struts connecting the bottom of these giant boosters. And more struts up here at the top. These things hold straight. And this time he actually used quadrilateral symmetry, or as close as he could get, for the fins. He used the Skipper liquid fuel engine. He didn't have main sails unlocked quite yet. These are the kickback solid fuel boosters, which are a recent thing in the evolution of KSP. I think they came in with 1.8 or something like that. And the idea behind this ship, of course, is a moon landing. What we've got here is 4 tanks and 4 legs on 1 Terrier engine. And then up here, you've got a tiny little return ship. The idea was you leave a scientist on the surface of the moon forever. Forever. Khan! Khan! While the pilot takes all the science and flies himself back to Kerbin with it. Now, RoninPawn's brilliant idea here was he had just unlocked fuel ducting, so he said, if I run a little bit short on the landing stage, I can borrow some from the return stage. And so he did. The problem with that was that the return ship got to moon orbit, but came just short of breaking moon orbit and coming back to Kerbin, which meant a lot of get out and push Scott Manley maneuver. Our goal for this flight is to not do that. This thing is going to steer like a thing that doesn't steer. And since this is a sandbox play, we're going to have to leave Bob because we don't have any other scientists to strand. Sorry, Bob. I hope you didn't buy any real estate because it's not going to do you any good where you're going. Now, at this point, he did have a maneuver nodes in his gameplay, so we don't have to eyeball this one much. Alright. Throttle to full, not that it matters that much. SAS is on. And we are flying in 3, 2, 1, fire. And we're away clean. Yeah, these are 2 professionals right here. Experienced space pilots. Jebediah, I said professionals, not clowns. Simmer down. You embarrass me. You embarrass us all. All right. There goes the fairing, and Pawn also did this. Lighting effects. He was very proud of this, and I gotta say, it does look pretty. It does, however, eat electricity, so I'm not anxious to use them just yet. Whoops, and I totally blew that. 183 by 80 is a terrible orbit. I'm going to have to waste fuel equalizing that unless we got extraordinarily lucky. Which, we got the opposite of lucky. Yeah, that's a huge waste of fuel, folks. Sorry about that. While we're here, let's go ahead and have a quick look around, because I almost never use the Mark I landing can that is at the center of that thing. And this is what it looks like from the inside, with the window pretty much underneath your feet, as you would expect for a lander. Software update, something, something, don't forget. Yeah, update before flight, don't forget. Well, a bit late now. Unfortunately, he can't look behind him, so we can't see the snacks and stuff there. Pre-flight checklist. Yeah, whoever pays attention to that. If you can see your neck at this angle, there is something very wrong with you. Meanwhile, here's the inside of the Mark I capsule that we've all grown to know and love. Much simpler in general, but you can actually see the cabinets behind you. Laundry, toothbrushes, snacks, board games. I would not like to try to play Monopoly, or worse yet, Carcassonne, in space, not in free fall. Better put some magnets on that shit. Alright. Okay, that went a lot faster than it should have. Okay, 184 by 181, that's good enough. Remember, we're going for a landing of some sort on this one, so we want to go as low as we dare. 33 kilometers periapsis on a moon flyby, that's pretty close. Alright. The trade-off, of course, is that we're not on a free return. It would be an ejection the way I'm doing this. So if that's the case, let's go ahead and get our free return thing going. Or at the very least, spend a little delta V here to make capture easier. There we go. Coming in on the front side of the moon, slows us down, almost gets us a free return as I've got it here, but will save us fuel on the deceleration and landing. Again, I hope. Now, of course, you might notice one of the big flaws in RoninPawn's ship. Namely, I mentioned this before, all the solar panels point one way and only one way. Which means for this maneuver, they're pointed exactly away from the sun. This is not good. But in a certain way, this has its own cockeyed beauty. Speaking of, we need to get these antennas unfolded from their little paizuri with the batteries. Yeah, break it up. We'll have no more filth on this channel, you naughty people. Time to burn. Okay, we're on our way. There's the moon. We'll see you soon. Because we're all goons and ugly baboons. Jeb and Bob are hanging tough, no worries. All right, almost ready to... Whoops. Okay, that's an impactor. Not what I had in mind. Really not what I had in mind. And I really don't want to waste any more fuel on that either. Okay, do we really want to go for the challenge of a direct descent without moon orbit? I'm a little bit scared of that, so let me go ahead and take a quick save now. Quick save as flip out the keyboard support. Here. Moon direct descent. Save. Direct-y descent. Direct-TV descent. This descent to the moon is brought to you by AT&T DirecTV. There is a ship around here somewhere. There damn well better be a ship around here somewhere. Where is my ship? My ship has friggin' well vanished. My ship has vanished, and I'm not happy about that. Let's see if we can recover our save here. There we go. Load that. Get me my ship back, please. Thank you. Stupid, stupid game. Interesting thing, our trajectory now shows us a tight corkscrew. But how deep into the surface of the moon is that periapsis? Because it's not giving us a number or indicator here that says it is an impactor. So we cross over into the moon sphere of influence, and we get a periapsis of negative 26 kilometers. Not much under the surface, but it's enough. It's sufficient. Okay, got the landing gear out. And yes, the landing gear were exactly this high in RoninPawn's build, which makes me even slightly more uncomfortable because there's that engine bell right there, ready to hit the ground and make some serious trouble for us. Okay, it's time to start hitting the brakes. Besides, I don't like the territory we're heading towards. I I don't like it, but I don't think I can stop myself at this point. It's going to be a really damn interesting landing. Especially since we are barely slowing down a bit, and the surface of the moon is coming up really damn fast. Fax Paladin, interesting is defined as, oh God, we're going to die. And that's not as much of a joke as I'd like. We have very little margin here. Whatever territory we're coming up on, whatever terrain, we're going to have to accept it. Okay. Alright, a little under 5 kilometers altitude at 60 meters per second rate of descent. It's not quite a suicide burn, but it was not far from it either. We have 564 meters per second still in the tank. And we're coming down on what is almost certainly very uneven territory. All right, 2 kilometers to go. I'm really not happy about those landing gear. Jebediah and Bob look confident enough, though. I have to trust them. All right. 20 meters per second at under 1 kilometer to go. This is as slopey a slope as I have ever sloped. This looks like a hideous landing zone, and it's what we've got. Let's just pick up the drop a little bit. Get us down while we still got fuel. Okay. If this thing stays upright on landing, it'll be a miracle. Again, this is a terrible landing zone. Jesus H. Christ. If there was anybody that didn't expect this, you're idiots. I didn't do that. Now you see, this is why we have quick saves. This is why we have quick saves. Jebediah and his toboggan are having buku fun going down this slope. Here, how about this? There you go. Okay, what the hell is that over there? We are going to go back to the quick save, but I'm wondering what the hell that tiny flicker is over there. So, while we're doing this part that never happened, let's have Jeb never happen down there. So this is a thing that I don't have the appropriate stuff to interact with. That's unfortunate. Oh, and by the way, Bob is still alive too. Hello, Bob. Bob is sitting here in the can saying, I wish this had never happened. I wish this had never happened. I wish this had never happened. Congratulations, Bob. It's your lucky day. Because this never happened. There we go. That gets us a low periapsis. Just barely high enough to be safe. And a free, almost a perfect free return trajectory, too. Really too damn close to the moon. 2.5 kilometers over its surface. And this is us getting our orbit on. Our periapsis is dropping a bit, but that's actually okay, because we're not going to come around another orbit. In fact, it looks like we might go suborbital. Yeah, there we go. Unfortunately, we're not getting back to the bright side either. So, yeah, I might as well... Shit. This is not where I want to come down. I want to get over this crap, too. But, yeah, dark side of the moon. Never a wonderful place to be. And yet, that's where we're about to go. Well, at least we can brighten things up a bit. The actual ground effect lighting effects are kind of lost on us. Oh, but that's right. Doing this way means we can make a night landing, and it will look semi-cool. 310 meters per second, 880 meters per second in the ship. Legs are down. Catching the last bit of the sun right there before it goes below the horizon. And there it is. All right. I think I want to land just past this small crater here if I can manage it. It's going to be tight. Going to be damn tight. site was, the place where we never landed. Because it never happened. Jeb did not go sledding down the surface of the moon. And I don't care what certain clips say. That is actually pretty damn pretty. At 4 meters per second, here is our landing spot. Touchdown. And there we go. We've landed RoninPawn's contraption, and we have not blown up the engine on it, wonder of wonders. Although I will go ahead and disable that, because safety first, you know. Now, I don't think I quite got the leg right on the hatch here, so I'm wondering whether or not Bob can get out and get back in successfully. That would be a big-ass no. He's clipping through the damn... I'm not even going to risk that. Get back in. Yeah, this must have been angled a bit further outwards. The reason these are like this was so that they would fit inside the fairing for launch. Okay, we're going to just say that abracadabra, Bob's got all the science and transferred up to Jeb. So now, I've got the throttle set to just over half power. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and throttle it up to full. The lower engine here is turned off, but the return home engine is full of fuel and has this tiny little spark ready to go as soon, and this will decouple and the spark will ignite at exactly the same time, as soon as I hit the spacebar, in theory. So, let's see if Jebediah can get home while leaving Bob stranded forever on the surface of the moon until we feel like picking him up. But don't worry, Bob, you'll still have these lovely ground effects. Lovely, lovely ground effects. But for now, Jeb is flying. Triple check the staging. All good. Jeb is flying in 3, 2, 1, fire. Whoa, that didn't happen before. Okay. Okay, we have a surface orbital velocity of about 200. We have 520 meters per second left in the tank. This is still, despite my best efforts, very, very tight. Okay. Okay, 10-kilometer apoapsis is about as good as we can expect. Remember, our goal here is to get Jeb home without having him get out and push. In all honesty, it's not looking good for that. How's power holding up? We have no more solar panels anymore, and I don't know that the spark regenerates power. We're going to find out in just a moment. It doesn't. Come on, hold the apoapsis. It's tiny, but it's loud. Okay, that's not so happy. 10 by 20 for an orbit is not wonderful. We have only 137 meters per second left to break orbit. I don't think it can be done. Okay, you'll notice the big red band here where it says we ain't going home. I'm going to try to reduce that down as much as possible, but we'll see. Okay, so this is another thing. This is something I can't do better than RoninPawn at. We're going to have to push to get home. That's all there is to it. Get ready for a lot of repeated manly maneuvers. Come on, I need you to climb faster, and I need the game to stop spazzing out every time somebody... You'd think nobody in all of history had ever got out and pushed a spaceship before. I mean, really, it happens every day. We're going to have to end this burn before we get anywhere near the atmosphere of Kerbal, unfortunately. But... And we keep getting moon intercepts, which is... Oh, wait a second. But I have just had a thought. A moon intercept could drop our altitude there. SAS, prograde, EVA again. Now this thing gets us, loops us around, comes back to the moon, and kills us. Kills us stone cold dead. That, of course, is not the plan. Jeb, exactly. Oh, for a second there. Yeah, yes. Get me a periapsis on the front side of the moon. Yeah, that would be an escape trajectory there, but there's an impactor. But... Come on. You know you want to. Give it to me. No, don't do that. No. Uh-oh. Some shit just happened. Alright. Get back in the ship. And let's see... Looks like pushing forward is still my most efficient option. I was hoping to find something else. It didn't work out. Yeah, the problem there was... yeah, we lost the apoapsis necessary to intercept the moon. So, yeah. Not good enough. This is really taking its own sweet goddamn time, too. Okay, raise the apoapsis, you idiot. Raise the apoapsis. Get a moon intercept that will work. And you might actually have a chance. Get back in the ship. This is not how RoninPawn did it. RoninPawn had it a lot more simple. He was somehow or other more efficient with his ascent burn than I was. I'll have to rewatch the video and figure out how that turned out. New plan, we're going to go down here to the periapsis, which is still way high. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and get away from the moon entirely. Thank you. And let's see what we can do about a maneuver here that gets me... Oh, yes. Uh-oh. Okay, that's 5 days from now. Oddball maneuver, but it does look like it will drop us down a hell of a lot for practically no. You're not dead yet, Jebediah. SAS on. On maneuver, whoop-de-doo. EVA. I forgot to straighten you out, damn it. Alright, floating away. Don't kick the ship, please. Thing of ship the kicking do not. Alright. There we go. Good boy. Down, level off. Let's see if we can't get the moon intercept that we need. All right, that looks good, at least for a starting point. Just that little nudge was all we needed. Get back in the ship. Flickering trajectory here says in 5 days we get a high pass of the moon that drops our apoapsis down from our periapsis, sorry, from 1.5 million meters to 340,000 meters. Yeah, me likey much. And now the key thing here is with us, once we get in the moon sphere of influence, what maneuver, pushing, gives us the most bang for our buck as far as getting the fuck down from here? Okay, all we need technically is another 34.8 meters per second of deceleration, of acceleration, going faster to make this work. So let's go right over here where this will be at its most effective. SAS on to prograde and get Jeb out for, yes, you guessed it, more pushing. Done. All right. Let's put this down. Jeb, get in the ship. We're done with pushing. You're going home one way or another. And we've still got plenty of electrical charge for re-entry, which is a real surprise. Okay, retrograde please, and hold that. And what kind of territory are we actually coming down on? Not that we have a choice. Possibly this bay here. Definitely desert and a tiny chance of mountains. Could be worse. And although we're coming in very fast because this is a lunar return, we have plenty of ablator. We have a aerodynamically stable capsule. Jebediah is almost as good as home already. Parachute is greenlit. Jebediah and all the science we quote-unquote got from the moon is going to make it home. So RoninPawn's design did succeed in that much. However, I was not able to fly this one better than RoninPawn did. So I count that as Redneck Gaijin 1, RoninPawn 1. Not the parachute. RoninPawn tends to leave the parachutes at the very last second, but I don't want to have you people shouting at me saying, "Hit the parachutes, you idiot! You're going to die!" But some people enjoy that. Parachute opens. Surprisingly soft landing considering we came in from the moon on that. And Thump. Recover vessel. That took a hell of a lot of pushing, but it worked. All right, Jebediah is home safe with all his science. Yeah, Fabu. But, what? I don't need that. What about Bob or Bill or whichever one? Something blew up on the lander when we decoupled and blasted away. What the hell was it? Okay, I think there was a docking port up here as part of RoninPawn's design. That probably blew up as soon as we full throttled off the thing. But everything else seems to have remained intact. So this is a functional science station, at least so long as Bob is here is functional. And there's even a tiny chance this thing could make orbit so that Bob could be rescued. A tiny, tiny chance. And we've got a little bit of time left, so, what say we go for it? Reactivate engine. Oh. There we go. Oh, there is one thing. Why are we showing SAS on when Bob is not a pilot and we have no probe core on this thing that I know of? I'm wondering how the hell that works and how long it's going to work. Well, anyway, we need to get lifting now if we're going to try this at all. Oh, well, this is going to be the last thing we do tonight and probably the last thing we do with the save, so I don't give a rat's ass. Forget the quick save. 3, 2, 1, fire. Okay, we're almost up to speed, but not quite. That's not good. 150 meters per second left. That's not going to be enough. That's not going to be enough. Bob, you may have to jump out and fly for your life. All right. And fire. Burn out the engine and pray. Yeah, that's a no. That's a big fat no. All right. Bob, get on your apoapsis and burn like hell. Get on your prograde. And burn up a little bit while you're at it, too. All right. Is Bob going to make it to full orbit from here? Well, not doing that shit, he's not. Come on. Whoa! We just had a camera flip, and I think we know what that means. That means an orbit. Let's warp Bob up here. His landing ship went bye-bye. Boom, boom. There. Bob no longer has a spaceship, but he is in an orbit and could be rescued if absolutely necessary. But in this universe, we don't give a rat's ass. Because we're never coming back to this universe again. All right, that's going to do it for tonight's Kerbal Space program. This is Kris Overstreet, the Redneck Gaijin, and thanks to all the Patreon supporters and those of you who are subscribed to this Twitch channel. You're helping keep food on the table. Here's the cog. Good night, everybody.